Well, in the last few episodes, we've been talking to Elliot Randall about a lot of people who really have passed on. Kirsty MacColl, Laura Nyro, and this time around, one of the greatest, Jimi Hendrix, on Rock History Music. Remember, if you want to support the channel, there are links in the description. You can either buy a t-shirt, make a donation on PayPal, or join our Patreon. Here's Elliot Randall. The Jimi Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix came to your freaking house. You guys jammed together. Your mother says, "What? Who's this guy?" That's, I've heard a lot of Jimi Hendrix stories, but the fact that you had a chance, you two seem to have there's a real beautiful connection with each other.
Yes, both interpersonally and musically. Interpersonally, we were just these two space cadets looking to find whatever the magic formula was.
Yeah.
Musically, we shared an awful lot of ideas having to do with altering what were before known as, straightish guitar sounds. And we were both into the fuzz tone very, very early, both into feedback very, very early. We used to smile at each other when we'd get up and play together. A lot of grins, a whole lot of grins.
That says something. I hate to ask the obvious question, but because I'll always run into people say, "Oh yeah, it's just because he's dead," but he was that good.
Yes, he was. He was, and it would have been amazing had he still been alive. He had all these wonderful ideas and plans. He and Miles Davis were going to do a project together. That would have been absurd. Both of them reaching for the moon.
And he was disenchanted, like when you saw him at the Isle of Wight, and you knew right away there was something. I mean, because you knew the guy, you knew right away there was something downtrodden. There was something going on with him, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can just see somebody's face, and if you know them well enough, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And he was very disillusioned with both the music business and the fact that he felt as though he had become more of a pawn than a person.
Yeah, you wanted to know who his friends were, right?
That's right.
That's a tough thing to see someone in that. I mean, they say the hardest thing you can have is getting everything you ever wanted. And then you start realizing, and sometimes you're paying attention to the wrong things when you're going after fame anyway. But he, and not that long after that, we lost him. What was your reaction? I mean, it's obvious what your reaction was, but
I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed. And any inclination that I might have had towards stardom, and I still had back in those days.
Yeah,
that was it. Right. I don't want to go there. I'll do something else. I'll stay in the studios. I'll go play on stage when it's fun, but I don't want to be the guy that Rick Gunnell said, "I'm going to make you a star, kid." No, thank you.
Yeah. What was your relationship like? You had mentioned before with Denny and with Jeff. There's that thing about going in a room and going, we're going to make the record better. And that competition question that you obviously get often of playing. But let me ask you this. You were on stage someplace, and I forget who the gentleman was who told you, you're on stage and you were doing something. And he said, "Look, they're just pointing out at all the guys with the guitar cases." What was that story of saying, "Oh, they're all out there to..."
I was playing. It was a tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan,
right,
who had just passed recently, and a bunch of us were invited to the Lone Star Roadhouse in New York to come and play a tribute, to play a concert in tribute to Stevie. And Cornell Dupree and I were on stage together. Cornell, for those who don't know, was the fourth person of that Bernard Purdie, Chuck Rainey, Paul Griffin. And then there was this incredible guitar player, Cornell Dupree. So Cornell and I are up there and we're playing our hearts out. And I feel one of these, look at them. And a bunch of guys with guitar cases all ready to jump the stage. And no, this isn't a competition. It's not a talent contest. This is a loving tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan. So
why don't you have that software, do you think? Why is that a nurture nature thing, why don't you look at 10 guitarists in a room, or maybe even 3, as your competitors? Is it because of the song, because of the project? You know your place, you know what has to be done, the mission. Why is that?
Well, to own up, when I first started out as a studio musician, I saw all these other guitar players as competition.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until a year or 2 into the job that I realized, hey, these are really cool guys. And nice guys. They play great. And all of a sudden, you develop, not all, but through the time, you develop a camaraderie. You develop an appreciation for what all these people bring to the ballgame. And I know for years, in session world, we used to do, I think Phil Spector probably started having 1 million guitar players. But in New York, we'd have at least 3 guitar players on a date. And the idea was to all of you make a lovely tapestry. It's not to scream, hey, listen to me, listen to me. It's about, again, servicing the music.
Mm-hmm. We'll have more from Elliott Randall in a couple of days. Remember, he was a session guitarist for Steely Dan, Frankie Valli, Paul Anka, 2 of the Kiss members' solo albums, Gene Simmons, Peter Criss. He worked with the Village People, Richie Havens, Peter Frampton, Yoko Ono, Carly Simon, Carl Wilson, Laura Nero, Kirsty McCall, and many others. Remember, if you want to support the channel, all the links are in the description. You can make a donation at PayPal, join our Patreon, or buy a t-shirt. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music.